Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name is Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. Want to thank our partners first. You know them, you love them. Walther is the title sponsor of this program and of AndersonShooting.com in general. The Walther PDP steel frame is the finest production competition pistol I have ever handled. That is all I'm going to say about that. Not really. If you don't like your competition appropriate Walther for any reason, within 30 days, they're going to give you your money back and you can go on down the road to an inferior firearm of your choice. That is not likely to happen. But if for whatever reason something is wrong with you and you don't like that firearm, Walther's going to give you your money back. Nobody else does this. Targets USA, as you know, manufactures the finest steel targetry on the planet. It is portable, it is affordable, it is the very best. CR Speed, as you know, manufactures the finest gun handling gadgetry you can wrap around your waist or anywhere else. Hunter's HD Gold is the only eyewear that I wear, and I are wearing it right now. OutdoorDynamics.net remanufactures the finest competition ammunition you can dispense from a Freedom Seed dispenser. AMG-Lab.com Commanderson timer is the only timer that we use here at AndersonShooting.com. Puts the time into the tablet. Pretty awesome. And of course, Shooting Sports Innovations is the official North Carolina roadside sobriety test. If you get pulled over under suspicion of inappropriate behavior and you can fully type ShootingSportsInnovations.com the first try, no backspace and no fat fingering, no getting it wrong, you will be let go free and clear. That may not be true, or it might. At any rate, once you get done typing fat finger and backspacing and fixing it, you will be treated to a vast cornucopia of shooting products, many of which you didn't even know that you needed. Want to let you know we have mental management starting this Thursday, November the 7th. It's going to run November 7, 14, and 21, 3 Thursdays in a row. It's available at 6 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. So for those of you on the West Coast, the 9 p.m. slot Eastern time is designed for you West Coasters to do the West Coast thing starting at 6 p.m. West Coast time. So 6 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go to upcoming classes at AndersonShooting.com and get signed up for that right now. And I just got a question for you. If shooting is 75% or more mental and your competition budget is, let's just use a really conservative number, $5,000 a year. Okay, $300 for this class is nowhere near 75% of your training budget. And how long are you going to go spending that money, your annual training budget, making the same mental mistakes over and over and over? How long are you going to do that? That would not be very smart. So get in on this class. Let's get your mental game fixed. And let's get you on down the road to a better career. Once again, AndersonShooting.com, upcoming classes. Speaking of upcoming classes, 2025 is starting to fill up a little bit. So if you want to do Anderson things in your neck of the woods, please let me know as soon as you can so we can get those scheduled. As always, the class sponsor gets the class for free. And you have the option of hosting me in your home where I continue to be a 5-star guest. You don't have to do it that way, but you can. Either way, you get the class for free. We can do mental management in the classroom, followed by 1 or 2 days of range. We can do class, match, class. We can do class, class, match. We can do match, class, class. And all of these environments, you will get everything you need to reach your potential, I promise. And speaking of things you can do to reach your potential, I was approached by a small group of people in Florida who wanted to combine what Keita Bussey teaches about movement with what I teach about shooting in the mental game. And we have 2 spots left. We had a couple of last minute cancellations. So there are exactly 2 spots for Okeechobee, Florida on November 11th and 12th, where I will be doing shooting things and mental things, and Keita Bussey will be doing movement things. These folks thought it was a good idea to get sort of the best of our individual, pretty specialized applications. So we're going to be doing that. 2 spots left. If you want to get in on that, email me. Steve at AndersonShooting.com. Can only take 2 people for that event. It's a brand new thing. We've never done this before. I'm sure it's going to be great. All right, so How to create consistency. Consistency seems to be what people want the most. I had a good day and I had a bad day. I had a couple of good stages and then I had a couple of crap stages. If I could just string 3 or 4 of these together, I'd be in such great shape. I don't know if that would make in the South, I don't know if that's sitting in tall cotton or doing something that rhymes with sitting in tall cotton, but we hear that in the South, here in Kentucky. So let's just say it's sitting. I'd be sitting in tall cotton. Well, let's get you out in the tall cotton. Let's create some consistency. Let's get you able to string 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these great stages, match days together. Number 1, you have got to start documenting your success, and only your success. And I know this is counterintuitive for most of you, and I can already hear the grumbling. You're telling me to pretend like I don't ever do anything wrong. It's not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing. What I'm telling you is if you're only documenting the mistakes and the failures, you are going to feel like you always get it wrong. And if you feel like you always get it wrong, what is going to happen at your next match? You are very likely to get it wrong again because it's what you know. It's what you've documented. It's what you've studied. It's what you've talked about. It's what you've thought about. It's what you've told your friends about. Here we go again. Time to screw the pooch on the classifier. You know every way you can mess up a match or a stage. You're an expert in that. What you aren't is an expert in getting it right, and that has got to change. You are never going to forget your bad stages and your bad matches, but you have. If you're having a consistency problem, you have forgotten your best matches and best stages. You have, otherwise you would know what to do. It's, okay, moving on. And the easiest place to do this is in the mental management journal, the performance analysis. Notice it is a performance analysis, not a results analysis. Big distinction. Okay, I had a phone call with a client today. He's having some trouble. He's been through mental management. He's using the flow chart about 75% of the time, and he's written in his journal about twice. Anytime somebody comes out of mental management and is not having success, that is what we always find. Unfortunately, this shooter doesn't know what's happening when he's getting it right. And that's compounded by something else that happens. If success is not identified beforehand, it cannot be achieved. This is true in competition. This is true in training. If I don't define success before I go to the range, by definition, I cannot have success. That cannot be good for my confidence level. It just can't. Yeah, I went to the range. Yeah, I went to the match. How'd it go? Not so great. This pattern is predictive. If you go to the range 10 times and you don't have success, and you're coming out of that with negative opinions about your shooting and your skills, what do you think is going to happen at the match? Right? If I'm in the rodeo and I'm doing rodeo things and I fail 10 out of 10 times, it's time to go to the rodeo. Guys, this is not my first rodeo. I can help you do this, but you have to work with me. 2 things you need to do. Number 1, goal-based training. I cannot emphasize the power of this enough. Identify a measurable success. Maybe it's a hit factor. Maybe it's a time. Maybe it's a group size. Maybe it's a number of alphas. It doesn't matter what it is. Achieve it and move on. Oh, you're telling me to give myself a participation trophy and just ignore my mistakes. I never said anything of the sort. You're already an expert in your mistakes. That's why you're having consistency problems. And your self-image expects it to keep happening. It's not what you want, but it is what you're expecting. And we can change that. Now, when you're analyzing the match, you start with your performance. You have got to understand that you will never have the winning performance until you can produce a winning performance. The client I was speaking to today is having some self-image issues. His cultural heritage is not real big on pride. Well, this is not pride. Pride is something that I project. Self-image is something that I believe. And we're going to come back to that here in a minute. But you're going to analyze your performance. This guy said something very, very cool. We identified a self-image opportunity. We continue to talk about it. I'm trying to help him get to a better place where he can start building his self-image. And he says to me, you know what? When I shoot my game, I do pretty damn good. And I said, write that down. What a great thought. What a great feeling. What a great idea to carry into the match. When I shoot my game, I do pretty damn good. Now, what's crucial for him is to know what that means. Do you know what it means to shoot your game? Specifically. Well, yeah, I'm not thinking, I don't care about the results. Okay, those are not duplicable. Strictly speaking, not thinking about results and not thinking about anything, not caring about results and not thinking about anything is not by itself duplicable, and that's a problem. It's a problem for two reasons. Number one, it can't be duplicated. Number two, because it can't be duplicated, we assume we're not going to shoot well. And these assumptions always show up in performance. So if I tell myself, okay, I shoot my best when I don't care about the results. I'm going to nationals and I don't care how I finish. That's not going to work. I shoot my best when I'm thinking about nothing. Okay, try that. If you could do it, you wouldn't listen to this program. Okay? So let's do something else. Let's change how we care about results. When I shoot my game, I do pretty damn good. So if I want a pretty damn good result, I need to shoot my game. So let's care about that. And it is perfectly fine to think about results during the competition. But that thought has always got to end with a process within your control that you believe will contribute to the result that you want. And all you have to do is go back to the great matches and stages that you documented. Oh, wait, you haven't been doing that, so you have nothing to refer to. That's the problem. I don't know what it looks like when I'm having success. And to compound that even further, I may not ever allow myself to feel, have, or be successful. That has to change. When I discovered goal-based practice, I only really discovered it about 3 years ago because I wasn't shooting very much. And I needed videos, right? Because I want people to know that Anderson can still shoot. So I want to make videos that prove I can still shoot. Well, that's my goal. My goal for the range, the definition of success, is to make an impressive video. So I turn that into a process within my control. I shoot something for score. I identify a goal I think will get people excited. I achieve that goal. I film that goal, and I leave the range. And no, it's not 50 takes. Sometimes it's the first take. But trying to get an impressive performance on video is very similar to match pressure. I know I can do 100 takes until I get it right, but I don't want to. So it creates pressure, and pressure can only amplify what you're thinking and feeling. So, okay, time to roll the camera. I've done my dry fire. I've identified my goal. I can dry fire the thing 25% faster than I need to live fire it because that's my rule. And then I hear this voice, don't screw up the reload. Whatever you do, if you botch the reload, you have to do it again. Okay, that's a valid thought to have. How can I prevent that? Well, let's see. Not only did I invent the modern dry fire method, but 99.999% of my reloads have been awesome when I think about something else. Not when I don't think about them, because that's not duplicable. I just got done with the invasive thought that wants me to worry about my reload, so I can't turn that off. But I can change the channel. So I got to pick something else to think about. Center the dot, call the shot. Well, there's no reload in there. That works great. We'll come back to that in a minute. Now, let's talk about the rules of consistency straight from the mental management class. Okay? Consistency. Choose a primary. Choose a primary sport, IDPA, USPSA, Steel Challenge, PRS, whatever it is. And it's okay to shoot other stuff, but have a primary. Okay? Master what you've chosen, which will be very difficult if you don't have a primary. If you're bouncing back and forth between 2 or 3 different sports, it's going to take you a long time to get good at any one of them. Yes, I know there are some skills that cross over. I get it. However, if I'm shooting IDPA and USPSA at the same time, my progress in both of those is going to be delayed. But if I choose one, it's okay to shoot the other one now and then. It's not recommended to get where you want to go very quickly, but it's fine. But you got to choose a primary. Primary sport, primary gun, primary division. That's my primary. And then you're going to master what you've chosen. With massive numbers of reps of the individual skills at a level that will help you achieve your goals. If I want to become a master class shooter or a grandmaster class shooter, all I have to do is to be able to do master class and grandmaster class things on demand. And that takes a lot of reps. So I'm going into nationals. I'm in A class. By definition, I have USPSA 75% mastered. I am in the top 25 percentile of what a human being could do with a handgun. Do you feel like that? Because the third step is to trust what you have mastered. To believe, hey, I'm a 75% shooter. I'm in the top 25% of what a human being could do with a handgun. Trust. So tell me about your consistency issues and try to think of a time when inconsistency was not caused by trusting what you have mastered. Try to think of a consistency problem that wasn't caused by a lack of trust in your skills. That is the root cause of the vast majority of it. Now, the next thing I want to tell you about consistency is that it is the quality of your thoughts and your ability to duplicate them. So let's unpack that, as the young people say. Am I thinking thoughts that are conducive to consistency? Number 2, can I control that? Mental management, to boil it all down, is controlling what you are thinking about. And you can do that. You can control what you are thinking about. It may be more challenging for certain personalities, and I know there's potentially medical conditions that make it more difficult, but I believe that a human being can control what they think about. You do it at work all the time. If you have an important task, right? You know there's things you can't say to clients and customers. So you control what you think about so that you don't do those things. You can do the exact same thing in shooting. Consistency is the quality of your thoughts and your ability to duplicate them. But if you don't know what you're doing when you're successful, what are you going to duplicate? Well, every now and then a blind squirrel finds an acorn. Great. Take that to nationals and tell me how lucky you are. That doesn't work. But if you document what is happening when you're getting it right, especially when you allow yourself to get it right by some definition, now you have something you can duplicate. And you'll find it's pretty simple. You'll find that you knew the stage inside and out. You'll find that you weren't thinking very much, and you'll find some version of not being worried about the results. Either you knew you were going to do well, you truly didn't care, but some version of not being worried about the results. That has to exist for good performance. Anytime you're worried about the results, you are not going to get access to your subconscious skill. Certainly not at a high level. Now, all of this that we're talking about, confidence, self-image, your opinion of your skills collectively and individually. My buddy Kim Franzen came down from Denmark. He came to do a class in Pennsylvania, and he shot the local match. Now, he doesn't know, he's a national champion, but he doesn't know where his skills fit at a USPSA match. We know he's a national champion of Denmark, but we don't know how that plays in Pennsylvania. I didn't know. He didn't know. He knew he was going to do well, but he was a little worried about it. What if Steve's told these guys I'm a national champion? What if I don't shoot like one? What if I embarrass myself? And he got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but something very interesting happened. We get to the classifier, and it's his first American classifier he's ever going to shoot. Okay? First one. And he finds out that it's one shot per target. And he looks over at me and he says, I am a phenomenal one shot per target shooter. I am an excellent one shot per target guy. I love these kind of stages and I'm great at them. And he won that stage overall. Shooting standard / limited, he literally won the entire stage, beat everybody there, including Jay Slater, the world's best Ruger revolver shooter. He beat everybody because he knows I'm a great one shot per target shooter. I'm really good at this. He didn't say you Americans are stupid. Your cars are too big and you eat too much. He said I'm a great one shot per target shooter. Okay, that gives him full access to your skills. Now, self-image is not ego, and if you continue to labor under that misconception, you are going to continue to have consistency problems. All you got to do is look at Christian Seiler. And maybe some people think he's cocky. I don't. I see that as 100% self-image. And guess what? When he goes to the match, guess who knows he's going to win the vast majority of the time? He does, and everybody else does. I don't think that's ego. He's an extremely nice young man. Very friendly. I saw him help out numerous shooters with stage plan and all kind of stuff. If it was ego, he would say, I'm not going to help you with your stage plan because you're stupid. That would be ego. Instead, he says, I'm going to beat you after I help you with your stage plan. That's self-image. And you must understand your confidence, your opinion about your skills collectively and individually is a filter for those skills. And if you don't have confidence in the skills you're training, you are wasting your time training. Well, you're telling me to tell myself I'm the best shooter in the world. I'd never said anything of the sort. What I said is if you are training in such a way that is not building confidence that you can tap into in competition, you're going to continue to struggle. That's what I'm saying. And you don't need to believe you're the best, but you do need to believe you can do it. When you get to a one-handed stage, you need to say, okay, my one-handed shooting's getting better, and if I get a good trigger pull, I can do this. That's something we can believe. And if you're using your journal correctly, it'll be documented. Hey, I went out and shot one-handed. I'm getting better at one-handed shooting. That's great. This is already working for you in some aspects of your shooting. There are stages you like, stages you look forward to. Those go better than the ones you're afraid of. Don't they? The stages you like go better than the stages that you don't like. I worked with a very high-level shooter that had a disappointing performance at Nationals, and we were talking about this very topic. He goes, you know what's weird? As soon as I got to that match, I thought the stages were stupid, and I did not want to be there. Well, gosh, that puts a chokehold on subconscious skill. Guys, you have to understand this. Building self-image is the only way to get access to subconscious skill. Now, here's the other thing you have to worry about. Here's the other thing you have to know. Your self-image is everything you've ever said, thought, heard, or written about your shooting. And it goes into this big pot where the status quo determines the overall flavor of your self-image. And there are ideas about shooting that are competing for attention in your self-image all the time. When you get to the match, oh, it's going to be a hot one. Grip's going to suck. Well, that may or may not affect you. Oh, stage 4 is really tough. That may or may not affect you, but you need to understand that potential is there. Whatever somebody tells you about the match, if you believe it and you internalize it, that's going to limit access to your subconscious skill. Okay? Your conscious mind, how you think about yourself, is always in control of whether that imprint gets in or not. These are some far targets. We've had a lot of mics out there. Well, sucks to be you. I'm really good at far shots. Or my chances are just as good as any other B-class shooter here at shooting these far targets. Meaning, I'm not going to struggle any more than any other B class shooter. And I've got an excellent chance of doing better than them if I identify a strategy that makes it more likely. Oh, here's a little freebie, it's not written down. Counter anxiety with strategy. If you're worried about something, do something about it. Okay. Now, number 2, your self-image must be built, repaired, and protected. And we have a very specific trick we're going to teach you in the mental management class on how to do that during the match. We can't reveal it here because I've given away so much free milk. Some of the cows are empty, so we got to save some cow juice. We got to save some milk so we can sell it. Let's just put it that way. Now, the other thing you've got to do is make your improvements from competence as opposed to incompetence. This is very, very common. I have a very good friend in Mississippi whose name rhymes with Bill Jackson. And when I first met Bill Jackson, he was telling me, I don't remember what skill he was talking about, but he was telling me how terrible he was at this one specific skill. I had just met him. And the other guy that was listening to our conversation said, what he's not telling you is that he's the current senior national champion. And I said, well, that's interesting. So from what I want you to do from here on out, every time you want to complain about your shooting or your skills collectively or individually, I need you to start with the sentence, I am the current national champion. So he did. I'm the current national champion and my transitions suck. That literally cannot be true. What he could say, I'm the current national champion. When I improve my transitions, I'm going to be even better. Make your improvements from competence and not incompetence. Number 7, self-image is always the same as performance. Not necessarily results, but performance. Okay? I'm always going to get the performance I believe I deserve. I'm always going to get the performance that I choose to take control of. Like the guy I had on the phone this morning. Hey, when I shoot my game, I do pretty damn good. That means as long as he knows what it means to shoot his game, and as long as he can control his thoughts in that direction, he can always shoot pretty damn good. But he didn't know that. He had never thought about it that way, at least not recently. So, your self-image is always going to be the same as your performance. That might work a little bit. That might work a little better backwards. That's what she said. Your performance is always going to be the same as your self-image. Okay. Number 8, if you can't be positive, you can be productive. I know it's frustrating to go to a big match and make a mistake. I get it. Stage 1, had a little trouble. That's disappointing. And being positive in that environment is going to be tough. However, you can be productive. You can say, okay, had a mic on stage 1, second shot went right over the shoulder. That's not awesome. I want to nip that in the bud. What in the world could I do? Oh, I know. I could wait for a better sight picture on my second shot. Guys, the interesting thing about this sport is the biggest problem in the sport, technically, is the only one you can correct in between stages. Right? It's the only one. Visual patience primarily on the second shot or the last shot leaving a position. Obviously, it can be a problem in other places, but most of the disappointment that you're suffering is causing from firing that gun without acceptable sight picture. Boy, the PRS shooters think that's hilarious. Right? Anytime I'm talking to PRS shooters, I say, hey, you want to know what the biggest problem is in the pistol sports? No, what is it? Firing the gun without an acceptable sight picture. They laugh and they say, why would anybody do that? Because waiting for an acceptable sight picture feels too slow. And if there's a technical fix to consistency, let's just try this. Shoot the gun when you have an acceptable sight picture. But I want to get a great grip and rip doubles like the guys on the internet. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. You do whatever you want. But if you really think that a Mike or a Delta or a no-shoot or even a Charlie is worth potentially reducing your splits by 1/10 of a second, it would be difficult to find a hit factor where that makes sense. And if you want to revisit the math, if the hit factor is known or hypothetical, just take the proposed points down scenario 4 points for a delta, 4 points down for a delta in minor, 15 points for a mic, 25 points for a mic. Oh, well, that would be a lot more than that. But whatever the proposed penalty is that you're trying to prevent, divide it by the proposed or hypothetical hit factor. That's how much time you have to prevent or correct that. Okay, in a 5 hit factor, a mic is 15 points. 15 divided by 5 is 3. In a 5 hit factor, you have 3 seconds. Well, it's actually 2.99 to prevent or correct that mic, turn it into an alpha, and improve your hit factor. Is it ever going to take you 3 seconds to prevent or correct a mic? Nope. And most of them are coming from the second shot on a paper target because somebody has convinced you, somebody with something to sell, by the way, that if you occlude your optic and get the world's greatest grip, you can rip splits with impunity. How's that working out for you? So, you can't be positive, you can be productive. By the way, I had my buddy Beaker in North Carolina, single stack guy, told me he really enjoyed how fired up I got talking about doubles on the last program, so that was for you, Beaker. All right, number 9, tell yourself to do things as opposed to telling yourself not to do things. You can't outsmart this. Don't hit the no-shoot. What usually happens? You whack the no-shoot because when you say don't hit the no-shoot, you picture hitting the no-shoot. And every picture is an event in your self-image. If you picture hitting that no-shoot 3 times, you have just hit it 3 times in your self-image. Your self-image is already expecting to hit it because it thinks it's what you want. It's what you're programming it to do. But instead, say shoot the center of the available target area or center punch the activator as opposed to don't miss the steal. Don't get DQ'd. Instead of that, say watch the 180. So tell yourself to do things as opposed to not do things. Number 10, cannot overstress the importance of positive imprints during the walkthrough. Again, what that means is as you're walking the stage, at the upper level, it would be, man, I love this stage. This plays to my strengths. If you can't do that, you can say, hey, I can make these shots. Somebody says, oh, what about a Texas Star? I can make those shots. I can make them at least as well as every other shooter in my classification. So positive imprints, and you've got to do this very specifically. As soon as you arrive at the stage, as soon as you arrive at the match, as soon as you start looking at stages, control the imprints about that stage during the walkthrough. You must do this for greater consistency. Number 11, you have got to avoid the conscious control of speed in competition. If you ever decide to speed up or slow down, I promise you, you're going to make the wrong choice. You cannot control speed correctly during competition. The right speed to shoot is the speed at which you can acquire acceptable sight pictures for every shot. That's it. Close targets are not fast, easy targets. They are fast, easy alphas. We know it's going to be spicy. I don't need to make that spicy. It's going to be spicy. Because I'm a quick shooter. I can shoot quick alphas. Right? But if our proposed or hypothetical or known hit factor reveals that a Charlie is worth 0.3 of a second, as it could, I don't have my calculator in front of me, so I can't give you the exact number, but going from a 25 split to a 20 split and getting a Charlie, if a Charlie is worth 0.3 of a second, is dumb. And it's even dumber at 3 yards. That is a dumb place to shoot a Charlie. That was the one interesting thing I saw. I may have told you this story last time. If not, I'll tell it again because it bears repeating. The open super squad had a bunch of stuff in the middle, and then they had 2 targets on the far left and right edges of the stage. They were very, very close, closer than 3 yards, super close. And I saw a lot of Charlies over there. That's a dumb place to shoot Charlies. And I don't know what the hit factor was on that stage, but I can promise you a 15 split as opposed to a 25 is not going to be worth a Charlie. And I'm not telling you to slow down and shoot alphas. That would be dumb as well. You are going to have some number of close Charlies. But it's pretty dumb to do that at 3 yards. It's far more likely to happen at 15 or 18. And we know it's likely to happen on partials because we're going to be smart and shoot them in the center of the available target area. But if you are consciously controlling your speed in competition, you are always going to be making an error. Slowing down is just as bad as speeding up. The right speed to shoot is the speed at which you can see an acceptable sight picture for every shot. Combine that with a subconscious stage plan and a healthy self-image, you will be sitting, or anything else you want to do, in tall cotton, I promise. Okay, so there's your 11 tips for greater consistency. You've heard them all before. You just think that you're so smart that you can outsmart them. I assure you, you are not. Okay, once again, mental management, November 7, 14, and 21 at 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. You'll sign up for all 3 classes on one link. Go to upcoming classes at andersonshooting.com. Please let me know if you want to do a class in 2025. So the reason that's so important is because I give out dates, right? Oh yeah, second week of June's available. I'll get back to you. Okay, that's fine. Don't mind. But that date is not yours yet. So if somebody else comes along and says, hey, I need second weekend of June, the best thing to do is to go ahead and pick a date now, because we've got plenty of time to work out the details. Okay, so let me know if you want to do a class in 2025. And also want to remind you, I will be doing a class in Okeechobee, Florida, November. That's the Okeechobee Range. I've been there before. It's a beautiful range. I will be doing that in conjunction with Keita Bussey, who is going to specialize in the movement portion, and I'm going to specialize in everything else. That should be very fun and interesting. That is November 11th and 12th. Only 2 spots remain for that one, so if you want to do that one, you need to let me know just as soon as you can. So, until we meet again on the range, on the Zoom, on the phone, on the podcast, or anywhere else, love you, bye, and get to work.